All right, we're back with another Pick'em video. It is Wednesday, April 9th in the NBA. Haven't had a video in a few days. I was traveling over the weekend, then there was a 2-game slate, and then I was traveling back, so I just couldn't get to it. And it's, again, kind of winding down the season. I think there is some value still out there. We've still been attacking value in the Discord community. Just wasn't able to get videos out. I'm not going to try to force something out when I don't have the time to really deep dive into those plays. But we got the time today, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go over each and every game today. Again, there's some video or some games right now that have a ton of injury news. Might just end up skipping those because I don't want to start talking about plays and then have people that I thought might sit or might play end up not doing that, and then I'm just like kind of giving you false information or misleading information. So we're going to go over to attack the games that we know at least a little bit of what's going on or have a pretty good idea of what's going on. So that's what we're going to get into for today. If that sounds cool, definitely go and leave the video a like. Comment something down below. We are back. And of course, subscribe if you are new. Let's hop into the injury news, and then we'll start talking about each and every game based on that injury news. And obviously, I'm going to give my actual official plays. I just want to talk about the other plays just because I got the time to do so right now. So let's hop into the first game, and it is the Celtics versus Orlando. As you can see, there's no one officially on the Celtics injury report as of right now, but a lot of probably going to sit tags here. 6.5 point favorites for Orlando. That's a big indicator that the Celtics are going to sit a lot of guys here. They're on a back-to-back. It was a good game against the Knicks yesterday, overtime game. So a lot of these Celtics are going to sit. So that means I can't get to any Celtics players. There's no really Celtics lines out right now. The only Orlando guy I'd want to look at right now would probably be Paolo Banchero. The Celtics are good enough to keep this game close. I don't know if the Celtics are going to win this game, but if it's close, that just means more minutes for Paolo Banchero. And the main way he gets his points, I guess I'll just pull up Props Madness. We'll check out Props Madness in a second here, but the main way Paolo gets his points is from the free throw line. If a lot of the Celtics players don't play, that means bench guys are going to have to come in, maybe a little bit more foul prone, and then pick and roll ball handling is a very weak spot in the Celtics defense. So there's going to be two things that Paolo should be able to take advantage of. Again, assuming that all these Celtics sit, which based on the spread Vegas has right now, is almost a guarantee at this point. Paolo's obviously been cooking right now. They obviously want to win games. He's been really, really good. So he's been very consistent. He's got a weaker matchup here, especially if the Celtics sit all these guys. Can maybe get to the free throw line a little bit more than usual. Can take advantage of that pick and roll ball handling defense. He's really the only guy I'd actually want to look at here in terms of potentially going to an over here. His line's at 27.5. You could mess around with some rebounding opportunities as well. The Celtics are on the road. They could be playing a lot more bench players. He's been rebounding pretty well, so that's something to look into. But I probably wouldn't look at his assists just because, again, it's going to be hard to see who they're going to run out here. And the Celtics typically, pack the paint and can defend the paint interiorly. That's his main source of assists, so I don't love that matchup. And then as well as spot up, they are pretty good at spot up defense, and that's just kind of a defensive scheme thing. They're going to still defend those spot up guys and let the players play one-on-one with them. That's just how the Celtics play defense. So Paolo, points, rebounds, kind of my only look right now in this game. And it's something I want to look more into as a Celtics fan, and I might, attack some Celtics bench players as we get more lines popping up. But yeah, as of right now, Paolo Banchero for his points or his rebounds, kind of just a lean in this instance for right now. And of course, Props Madness is the tool I'm using right now. If you actually want to check this out for a free week, you can do so in the description down below. It's code RICH. When you use that code, you're going to get 25% off your first month or your first year on top of that free week. So pretty sweet deal. They do have WNBA, which I'm excited to use for because there's a lot, I think, less volatility in WNBA. I think there's less blowout situations, there's less teams, and there's less games. So you don't have to worry about a lot of load management. Obviously, players can still get injured, but a lot more often you're seeing the typical lineups that these guys are running out, and being able to see all this information is going to be huge for the WNBA as well. So definitely check out Props Madness. Link in the description down below. It's code RICH to get that free week and 25% off that first month or your first year. All right, so hopping into Philadelphia and Washington here, obviously a ton of injuries. You can see them piling up down below. Philadelphia, every star they have or a sub-star is going to be out for this game. They have been out, and even the guys that have stepped up, like Quentin Grimes and Justin Edwards, they're now game-time decisions. So Bona, the center over there in Philadelphia, is going to be the guy that I look at here. I always look at centers against Washington, but he's actually been playing really well. He's been able to get rebounds. He can score a little bit, too, in a very weak matchup here against Washington. You always want to look at the opposing center against Washington, and he's in a pretty good spot here, projected at 31 minutes. On the Washington side of things, they're kind of going youth movement here with Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole still loves to shoot a million times when he's out there, and no one's getting more projected minutes than 27 right now, so it's a little bit harder to predict here, but definitely some under situations are probably a good look. I wouldn't go under on the young dudes that might get a spike in minutes if they play really well, but guys like Chris Middleton, projected for 21 minutes, Jordan Poole projected for 26 minutes. They're going to need to be really efficient in that minimal time to be able to hit their overs. All right, so hopping back over to Props Madness here, knowing what we got going on for the injury news. Going to start with Alex Sarr because I know a lot of people are probably going to want to get to him, and I don't think that's a bad idea. He's got a great matchup to score inside, a great matchup to score some threes. Similar types of players have been going over. He just scored 24 points against this team recently, so I do like this matchup for him. It's a great matchup. You see in that last game he played 31 minutes. He's only projected for 26 minutes in this one as of right now, so that's the only reason I'm kind of a little hesitant. But I might end up pulling the trigger on him. He's not going to be an official play, but I just want to point out the points do look really good, how he scores the points. 31 minutes, was able to score 24 points against them last time, knocked down 4 threes in that matchup as well. But rebounding, I think, might be a little bit of a safer choice, to be totally honest. Similar types of players, really just centers, are rebounding really well against this team. He did creep over with 7 rebounds the last time he played these guys, but really just the way that they give up rebounds. Rebounds allowed, they're ranked 24th, so seeing like bottom half of the league in terms of rebounds allowed, if I can find that. Rebounds allowed, taking out those top halves, 55%, and then again, you can consider the minutes he's going to play, projected for 26 minutes, so I'm going to say 24 plus minutes, 58% games, but really just looking at 24 to like 28, getting right in the middle, over in 62.5% of games. So he's able to score really well against this team, but he's able to rebound really well in this, even in this amount of minutes. He might get more, but he might get more towards that average, and he's still able to go over in a very weak matchup here. So I'd lean rebounds, points. You can see the hit rate in that much time is just not as good. Again, he might get more, but as of right now, the projection I'm looking at, only projected for 26 minutes. That's the only reason I'm a little bit shying away from the Sarr over. I might end up getting there, to be totally honest, because why not? Why don't they play him more minutes? He's the guy they drafted very high overall, and they want to be running out these guys. It's the time to do it, and he's got a weak matchup to kind of get some confidence behind him. So the points looking really good. Just want to point out the minute situation and maybe the rebound being a little bit of a better choice. Then the play I do like in this one, and the play that I think I'm going to end up playing here is an official play on the video, is going to be Bona. Adem Bona, the starting center now for the 76ers with all their injuries. Been scoring pretty well recently. Anytime anyone goes against the Wizards, you got to go and see what the center's looking like. Put back, pick and roll, big man, free throws, transition. All these are great, nice green matchups. 67% of the last 15 centers that have gone against this team have gone over their lines. And Bona obviously getting a lot more minutes, projected for 31 minutes in this game. If he gets 25 plus minutes, which we've seen pretty recently, a lot from him, over in 6 to 7 games in terms of his scoring. So 13.5 points for pretty good value. I like a very weak matchup here. He's been pretty good in that much time, and I think he can get there too. The rebound department I also think is a pretty good spot for him. Obviously similar centers, or I guess just centers in general, have been rebounding very well against this team. Now, he did play this team a little bit ago, a few days ago. Obviously, we looked at it with Alex Sarr. He didn't get his rebound line, so he only had 6 rebounds, but he only played 23 minutes in that game. You look at the points as well, only 6 points in the 23 minutes. Did only shoot 50% from the field. So yeah, you can point to the bad matchup he had, or the bad game he had last time against them. This was March 26th, not too long ago, about 2 weeks ago or so. So just keep that in mind. But I do think he's in a pretty good spot here with the minutes he's projected to get, which is expected to be more than last time. And the matchup he's got really going on. Putbacks, pick and roll, big man, free throws. You could start looking at all these different filters and stuff, but we just don't have that much data to look at for a guy that's only really been playing big minutes in 7 games so far this year. So I think if he gets put on the court, he'll definitely be able to take advantage. Going to both these centers, I don't think is a bad idea because it's a 1.5 point spread. Someone's got to score some points for this one. So if it's going to stay close and these two centers are going at it, maybe it's those two guys that are going to get the most most benefits from the game being close. Again, you could look at his rebounds or his points and rebounds might be the way that I look at this at 23.5, and I think that would be the official video pick. So anytime I'm talking through these, wait till the end of the video. That's when I actually point out my official plays, but I do want to point out players that I'm also considering. All right, so that's a lot of time based on that game, and you might look at this game and think it's horrible, but again, some of these guys getting more minutes have been pretty consistent, so that's why I spent a little bit more time on it. The rest of the games, obviously I'm going to go through the ones that I can. I might end up skipping over a few more games just because of the sheer amount of game time decisions. I mean, you can see the humongous number of game time decisions, out tags, all these different things. It's going to be harder to predict for some of these teams. And the reason because is that obviously the end of the year, but a ton of teams on a back-to-back. The Celtics, Hornets, Bulls, Warriors, Clippers, Lakers, Thunder, Magic, Suns, Spurs, Wizards, all on a back-to-back. I think it's 11 teams on a back-to-back. that's unheard of almost. So that's why it's a very, very hard day to kind of really cap and dive deep into like these advanced filters and things like that. Sometimes you just got to go to the tried and true guys or the guys that have been stepping up in the more minutes that they've been getting here. So that does move us to the Lakers and the Mavericks, a game everyone will be watching tonight because Luka is returning to Dallas. Now, as of right now, we're getting these like random tags, like are these guys going to play? They are in a back-to-back situation. Luka did get ejected last game, so maybe he's got his legs underneath him a little bit more. Obviously, Luka's going to be the main guy you want to look at here. You got to also remember AD's playing his old team, so another instance where AD, pretty good matchup here to take advantage of the Lakers down low, whether that's rebounding or scoring. And we've seen him play pretty well. Now, he's a game-time decision tag, but likely to play. So these are obviously the main two guys you want to be looking at. Do I go to them? Potentially. Are their lines going to be skyrocketed through the roof because everyone's betting their overs? Probably. And that might make it a better option to kind of pivot to someone like an Austin Reeves, or even more namely, a Rui Hachimura could be the best play here just because of the spot-up situation we got going on. So let's take a look at the Lakers in Dallas, but just keep in mind, if I do just skip one of these games throughout the video, it's because I just don't have a read and I don't know who's playing. All right, so jumping over to Props Madness, my initial thought was to attack AD in this matchup. He's going to be the biggest guy out there, but the Lakers have done pretty well at limiting these types of centers. Jokic did have 28 on him, but he also had a 12-point game. Sengun had 14. Bam had 10 against them. Sengun another 14-point performance. So AD could be playing angry. He could score a million points on these guys, but I had a pivot situation because I was like, all right, if AD is scoring a whole lot, who's going to get him the ball? And it's Spencer Dinwiddie. I really like this play. I don't know why it's so low. His assist line, you can see it's 7.5 for literally plus 118. I think that's a great thing. I think this is a potential ladder up to 8+ assists or 10+ assists. And you can see a lot of other books have this at 6.5. So this is going to be the play. 6.5 assists for Spencer Dinwiddie. You can see where he gets his assists. Very mediocre matchup. If you also think about, okay, this is a revenge game for a lot of guys. Max Christie, Luka, Anthony Davis. Spencer Dinwiddie played for the Lakers last year as well. So he's got something to prove here too. So over 6.5 assists. Really like what I'm seeing here. You start to think about who's playing in this game. AD, Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively. All these guys are going to be available. Those are all just lob threats. And again, interiorly, the Lakers have been pretty good in terms of stopping a lot of big men scoring. But at the same time, they do rank 18th in terms of right at the rim. That's where 40% of his assists come from. They got a lot of lob threats here, and Spencer Dinwiddie has been pretty good with a lot of these guys in the lineup. You can see the amount of assists he's been getting recently. You start to think about games he's playing with AD in the lineup. He's over in 5 of 7 games now. You think about the projected minutes he's got going on, which is, I think, 30 or maybe even more. That's the wrong team. Projected for 30 minutes, so right in line with a lot of these starters. And you also can talk about, okay, now we got Gafford in here and we got Lively in here, projected for limited minutes, but both these guys have played one game together. That was a game he had 10 assists against the Atlanta Hawks on 15 potentials. So really liking Spencer Dinwiddie at 6.5 assists. This is something I would absolutely ladder up to 8+ and even 10+, because I think it's going to be hopefully a good game. 3.5-point spread. This is going to be in Dallas as well. Spencer Dinwiddie looking really, really good here to chip in with some assists. So he's going to be my favorite play for the Mavericks side of things. I do like Max Christie's rebounds here. The line's at 2.5. Again, you start thinking about a revenge game. Max Christie was shipped out. Doesn't have, hasn't been on the Lakers for too long, but you go out there and you try a little bit harder. Maybe that's a Max Christie extra rebound here. And at a 2.5-point line, that's where everyone's got this line. That could be, that could be the difference in the line. So 2.5, he's been getting over this a whole lot lately. He doesn't need much. He just needs 3 rebounds. Yes, sure, he's stayed under it a little bit. He's projected for 23 minutes in this game. Again, maybe he plays well in a revenge kind of spot here. 21 to 25 minutes. He's only over in 45% of games. But again, the games that he's playing with these main guys, so like Spencer Dinwiddie in here, he's over in 3 of 4. So Max Christie rebound, something I was definitely looking into. Might not be my favorite play of the day, but something I wanted to point out. But really liking Spencer Dinwiddie on the Dallas side of things. Then moving into the Lakers. Obviously right now we don't know exactly who's going to play, but Luka should be the most rested guy. You can see the way they play defense here. Obviously, it's very different with AD in there. Pick and roll ball handling, free throws, isolation, very, very weak here. So this does look like a Luka spot. I don't know, at 30.5, it looks pretty good. He hasn't been getting there recently. He hasn't looked as good as he did, during this stretch more recently. And, this is kind of going to be a playoff-like atmosphere. Both these teams are playing for some sort of positioning. So, could be a game that LeBron maybe takes over a little bit more. But it's really going to be, I think, the Luka show. And because of that, I don't really love his line at 30.5. You could look at some of his assists or rebounds, maybe even an under on assists, because he's probably just going to want to be driving. But at the same time, does he will think about, oh, I want a triple-double in this game, in my revenge game, to show him really who's boss? Rui Hachimura, like I mentioned in the injury report, is going to be my main look here. Spot up shooting for this defense, the Lakers are 18th ranked in terms of, or the Lakers are, the Dallas Mavericks are. Spot up shooting is 18th, so that's something that's a little bit weaker on their side of things. He did play these guys twice so far this year. He played 26 minutes here and had 6 points. What was that? Not even a 3 in that game. He had 2 threes in this game, shot 6 of 12 and had 38 minutes, and he was able to crush that line. So 12.5 points for Rui Hachimura. When he plays with these guys in the lineup, so like Luka and LeBron and even say Reeves, he's over this in 61% of games. Very, very hit or miss. Some of these games he just shoots not a lot of shots or poorly, but at the same time, again, in weaker spot-up defenses, you can take a look at that. You can see the weaker defenses for spot-up shooting. A lot of these games he's staying under is because they're very good spot-up defenses. So like the Magic, the Rockets, the Timberwolves, and then when he gets a weaker spot-up defense matchup, that's these games that he's really going off. So taking away those like top 10 defenses, because we're looking at a 18th ranked defense here, now he's over in 7 and 9 of those games with these guys active. So Rui definitely in a pretty good spot here. The last thing I'll point out is he's projected for 32 minutes. Could get more depending on the game. So I'm just going to go to 28 plus minutes in these spot up situations that are pretty weak. And he's gone over this a ton really, really lately. So dominant player type, take away those top 10 teams. And he's over in the last like a bunch of games. Like the last 10 games, he's over in 9 of 10. And then that 3-point line that's pretty juiced around minus 150 could be a good parlay piece. He's over that in all of these games. So really liking Rui here. Whether you do want to pay some juice and get some threes, that's probably the easier line here. But the 12.5 points also looking pretty good. So to kind of wrap this game up, those are the plays that I like the best. We have the Spencer Dinwiddie assists, the Max Christie rebound potential, and the Rui Hachimura potential to score some points, get some threes, whatever it might be. But if you're watching this game for some fun and you don't want to bet on those guys, maybe you want to bet on Anthony Davis or Luka to have a battle down there and score a bunch of points against each other against their old teams. That could be a great way to bet. Enjoy the game, get some money down to Luka to score some points. Sure, he hasn't been getting it lately. If the storylines were taken out of this, I probably wouldn't look at Luka or AD. I don't love their matchups or what they've been doing in the minutes they've been getting, but sometimes storylines go into it. So put some money down on Luka to score some points, 30 plus points or whatever it might be. He killed these guys in terms of rebounding, assisting last time. Maybe he goes out and gets a triple-double, and he got ejected last game. So maybe he's playing with a little edge on his shoulder. If you really want to go out and enjoy this game, maybe bet something on Luka to see what he's got going on for him today, playing in Dallas, the team that shocked his world and pretty much the entire world by trading him randomly. And the same thing with AD. Played pretty well the last 2 games. Minutes are projected to be lower. He is still nursing an injury. They're messing around with the play-in positioning, so they do have something to play for. And his rebounding potential is also going to be there. So if he goes out there and plays a little bit harder than usual, maybe gets an extra minute or 2 and plays hard against his old team, he could crush this line. So again, I like the plays that I pointed out, the Rui Hachimura, the Spencer Dinwiddie, and the Max Christie plays. But the maybe more fun guys to bet on would be these AD and Luka to play into the storyline. And I don't want to shy away from that. I just want to point out the other guys I like in terms of actual betting terms. I like what I'm seeing in terms of the angles we have there. So the next game we'd look at would be Charlotte and Toronto. There's too much injury news. There's not enough minutes going around, I don't think. I don't want to guess who's going to get the most minutes here. Nick Smith Jr. has been pretty good. Salon's been pretty good, but only project for 20 minutes here. You can see how many guys are projected to play in this game for the Hornets. That's a tough one. We don't know if Scotty Barnes or Jakob Poeltl is going to play for this team. A lot of games I've been going to a lot of unders on the Raptors players because they don't play the end of games sometimes. But we need to know who Scotty's going to play, if Poeltl's going to play. And again, look at the rotation here. So many guys getting minutes. If someone starts to play better, this 20-minute projection could jump to 30-minute projection, and this 30-minute projection jumps down or whatever it might be. It's going to depend on how they play, so I'm staying away from this game for now. Moving into Portland and Utah, ton of injury news for both teams. No Ayton, no Grant, no Rob Will, no Scoot Henderson, so a lot of these guys have been getting a whole bunch of boosted minutes. Now, Denny Advia is the guy I'm going to be talking about in this one for the Portland side of things, but he's a game-time decision. Just keep that in mind. Anthony Simon's also a game-time decision. So I'm going to be talking about Denny Advia and the potential for some rebounds, but again, he might not play in this game. Then on the Utah side of things, no Kessler, no Markkanen, no Martin, no John Collins, no a lot of guys. So you see the projected minutes for them. Kyle Filipowski is always someone you want to look at with all these guys out. I don't love the rebound matchup for him, and that's something we've been looking at. So going to kind of fade him today. Not saying take the under, but just not loving the over situation. And then Keontae George is the next guy I want to look at because I know the Blazers kind of are weaker to these guards scoring. Projected for 34 minutes, but I'm not seeing any lines out for him. So kind of pivoted to Colin Sexton and really liked what I saw. So that's what we're looking at for these two teams. Again, maybe I'm blind, but I don't see Keontae George lines out for right now. So I did go to Colin Sexton. His line's at 20.5 on FanDuel, but a lot of other places have this at 19.5. So 19.5, a lot of different places have it. If you played at 20.5, I think you could probably do that, but you could also probably find 20 plus points on a lot of different places, which is essentially just 19.5. And it might come in handy here just because he lands on 20 sometimes in these instances, like right here. So just keep that in mind. If you want to play it at 20.5, it is going to be a little bit more risky. So 19.5, pick and roll, ball handling, transition, both as main types of scoring. They're ranked 21st and 24th defensively here. So I like to see that. Obviously coming off some two good scoring games, and the way he scores the ball, they're a little bit weak too. So going to that, we're going to take away the top 10 defenses in terms of the pick and roll ball handling and the transition on both sides. And then we're going to look at the minutes he's projected to get, which is 31. And that's not out of the question because the last few games, 37 minutes, 33 minutes, did have 24 minutes here. But that was a 40-point blowout loss. So he's been able to get into the 30s pretty consistently, even more beyond that. So let's look at the transition first, or I guess the pick and roll ball handling first. We'll take away those top 10 teams. You're going to see the hit rate go down. Don't get too scared off that just because we're not finished. We need to check in the minutes too. Then we're going to look at the dominant player type 2. That's that transition. They're also weak to that. So we're going to take out the top 10 there. And again, now we're seeing a 44% hit rate. But we got to remember all these guys are injured and he's projected for 31 minutes. So let's go ahead and put the minutes in now. We'll go to 28 plus minutes. He's over this in 86% of games. So if he's going to get 31 projected minutes and he's going to get a defense that's pretty weak to the way he scores the ball, his volume is very, very high. You can see 16 shots, 15 shots, 20 shots, 18 shots, 17 shots. He shoots the ball a whole lot. And then at the same time, in the minutes that he's getting with all the injuries, he's really been killing this. So Colin Sexton right around this line a lot of times. That's why I think 19.5 versus 20.5 is actually a kind of a factor here. You can see how many times he landed on 20 exactly. So 20 plus points over 19.5 points. I think Colin Sexton in a pretty good spot here to get the points. He just needs the minutes. So hopefully no foul trouble or anything like that. And I think he can do it for us today. Then we got Denny Advia. I'm going to look at his rebounds line. He's been scoring the ball extremely well, but he hasn't been playing since April 4th. Missed the last few games. He's got a great scoring matchup here. It just, with these extra minutes that he's been getting, projected for 35 minutes today, 32 plus minutes, the scoring is okay, but the rebounding really is what I like. In this amount of time, he's been able to rebound like a champion here. And with the injuries we got going on, he turns into an absolute machine in terms of rebounding. So we got no Ayton, we got no Rob Will. We could talk about like no Jeremy Grant as well. Over this now in 12 of 18 games in terms of rebounding, and that's not even considering the minutes he's been playing. So he's projected for 35 minutes. Yes, he's coming off injury. That does scare me just a little bit, but like 32 to 40 minutes, he's over this in 9 of 11 games. So 7.5 rebounds seems a little bit too low for Denny. Hopefully he does play in this game, and if he does play, he gets those projected minutes as he's expected to get. It's not like he's missed 2 weeks here. He just missed like 1 game and maybe 2 games. And I think he's got a pretty good rebounding spot in the amount of minutes that he should be playing against this Utah team. So Denny rebounds, Colin Sexton to score some points. Those are the 2 reads that I'm liking this one. Donovan Clingan, in the amount of minutes he's projected to get, also considered his rebounding potential, but ended up shying away just because I like what Denny's been doing a little bit more consistently. I will say the injury to Denny Advia does scare me a little bit because he's a guy that I've bet on before, and he ends up playing like 6 minutes and like leaving the game because he's not feeling too well or something. So just keep that in mind at the same point. And then in terms of his points, again, he's got a really good opportunity to score some points today, but the points are a little bit more volatile and a little bit more hit or miss, which is why I kind of just like the rebounds and the hit rate that I'm seeing there. Moving to the San Antonio Spurs versus the Golden State Warriors. Jeremy Sohan's the only guy that's a game time decision for the San Antonio Spurs. And then for the Warriors, we got Peyton and Post are both game time decisions. Now, this is a back-to-back situation for both these teams. The Warriors were able to rest those guys yesterday against the Suns just because they didn't have to play them down the stretch. They were crushing these guys. So a lot of the main guys only got like 25, 26 minutes or so, sometimes even less for some of these guys. And then this is another situation where it could be a blowout, 16.5-point spread. So we could see a little bit of less minutes from a few of these guys today. But if it can stay close, we should see the Warriors be able to play their guys mainly normal minutes. You can see the projections here. Pajemski is going to be the main guy I look at for this one. And then the San Antonio side of things, I don't have the best read in the world. So going over to Props Madness, Brandon Pajemski over his points, 15.5. I like what he's been doing lately. One game I did bet on him, of course, this, maybe it was a Pelicans game or something. I don't know. He had a horrible game. He had like a pout on his face the whole time and ended up like having a really good game to end it, like last 3 minutes of the game. But now he's just absolutely been cooking ever since then. I think it was this Grizzlies game, the game that I went to him. He just didn't shoot well, but now he's been cooking. He's got a very weak matchup here. Above the break threes, wherever he scores his points, is pretty much a weak matchup. Spot up transition. This is just a weak defense overall, this Spurs team is, especially down the stretch of the games. And again, he only played 22 minutes against the Suns yesterday and still dropped 22 points in that game in a 38-point blowout. So he's projected for more minutes than that, and he's been really, really good in those instances. Been able to go over this in very strong matchups like the Rockets, but also been able to go over this and take advantage of weaker matchups like the Spurs just recently. So that's who he's got today. Had 22 points against them earlier on in 27 minutes. That was a 42-point blowout, so this is a big 16-point spread. He also played 16 minutes against these guys earlier on in the year, but that was a November matchup. Podziemski's now starting and very much involved in the lineup, so we're going to kind of throw that one out the window. But really like what I see from the above the break three situation. He should be able to score some points, knock down some threes, and with the minutes he's projected to play and the projection that he's going to win this game by a whole lot of points, even in a blowout situation, Podziemski's a guy that typically is one of the reasons because of that blowout, because these main guys are playing pretty well. So games with Jimmy Butler and games that they've won by a decent amount of points, so like 10 plus points, he's over this in 75% of those games. This is a 16-point spread. If they win by 15 plus, he's still over in 75% of those games. And again, the 2 games he missed, this is a 16-point victory against the Pelicans. Shot 36%, 1 of 7 from 3. And then this is a game they just didn't have much volume, only played 25 minutes. So we're just looking at games you're playing with Jimmy Butler and won by that much points. And we're getting a pretty good hit rate here. I think that's what we can expect from today. And he's been really, really good lately. So loving Podziemski in this lineup. That's the main guy I'm looking at for the Warriors side of things. I will say I was also looking at Jimmy Butler's potential assists here, but it's very juiced at 4.5. So I ended up staying away from that, but I do think he's in a pretty good spot to get some assists, considering he gets a lot of them from those above the break threes and right at the rim. But the next guys I want to look at is on the Spurs side of things. It was Chris Paul, potentially looking at an under here. I was looking at a lot of unders for the Spurs side of things just because they are in a back-to-back and there's some huge blowout potential. So an old man like Chris Paul potentially might not see much time in the court. And that's exactly what we saw last time they played. Only 18 minutes and a 42-point blowout. You're not going to be able to get a lot of points, rebounds, or assists, and that's what he was able to not do in that game. But at the same time, Chris Paul, again, has been playing okay recently. Been able to do points, rebounds, assists, mainly because he's scoring pretty well, assisting well, and rebounding well. He's just probably not going to see a lot of minutes, which is why I was kind of leaning that way. But going to stay away from the unders on the Spurs side of things and just kind of focus on Brandon Podziemski to score some points here. I do want to see like knocking down some threes if he has a 2.5 3-point line. That could be something to look at as well for pretty good minus 106 value, at least on one place. So that could be something to mess around with again, but the points lines are going to have a much better hit rate, and he can kind of score on all different facets, and they're weak very much, all over the rim as well. 27th ranked above the break threes and even in that non-restricted area spots too. Then moving into OKC and Phoenix. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. You can see the game time decisions as of right now. This is the taller, worse. This is J Will, not J Dub in terms of game time decisions. So J Dub should be healthy and ready to go. And a couple guys on the bench going to be projected to be doubtful in this one. You can see the projected minutes for this one. It is a 10-point spread, so just keep that in mind. Shea dropped 50 on these guys last time they played. On the Phoenix side of things, we don't know if Kevin Durant's going to play or not. They've lost 7 straight games, and they're on the outside looking into the play-in situation. So I don't want to spend too much time on it. But Devin Booker's under does look pretty good to me. I was looking at his points and his assists. Now, I don't know if Durant's going to play in this one. That scares me just a little bit. But the way he scores his points, you can see similar types of players. Not very good at scoring points against this defense that the Thunder are putting out there. And in terms of assists, it's kind of a similar situation. Not many teams are being able to get over theirs. There are not many players that play similarly to Booker are being able to get over their assist lines here. Now, the corners are kind of interesting to me. So, I was looking at a guy like Ryan Dunn who actually shoots from the corners. But I don't know if Kevin Durant's going to play in this one. So, I'm going to stick to my guns and go to points and assists on the under here at 32.5 for Devin Booker. Can you find this at 33.5? Looks like you might be able to find this at 33.5. Obviously, it's going to be better value there. But he's played these guys twice already this year. He lost by 31 and 16 points. Only 22 points and assists in this game. That was 19 points and 3 assists. And then he had 12 points and 4 assists in this one. So they've been able to shut him down without Kevin Durant too. So if Durant plays or not, doesn't really seem to affect. And this is without Kevin Durant, still under in 47% of games. So I do like to see that. How about games they've lost by like 10 plus points, which is the spread? Only over in 34% of games. So a lot of signs pointing towards Booker staying under. There's some blowout situations. It's a very tough matchup for him. The fact that they've lost 7 games straight and pretty much are out of the play-in situation, not even the playoffs to play in, they're not even going to make, it looks like. So yeah, I'm liking the under on Devin Booker. He's been really good lately, but he's got a really tough matchup here. Then the other side of things, again, this is me saying I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but here we are. On the other side of things, I don't really have anyone I love. J-Dub is the main guy I want to look at 19.5 points. I think that's pretty good value. He didn't get that in either of these games. We only played 26 and 30 minutes in those games, projected for like 34 minutes in this one. The way he scores his points, pick and roll ball handling and transition, looks pretty good. Back-to-back situations, he looks pretty good over in 71% of games. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from J-Dub, but the same goes for Shea. He's at 30.5. There's a blowout situation. If I'm taking an under on Devin Booker, do I really want to be taking it over on one of these guys? But at the same time, even in games they've won by a lot of points, on back-to-back situations, these guys are hitting their lines very consistently. The only thing with Shea is he just creeps over this line so often. But yeah, similar type of matchup, kind of weak here for Shea and J-Dub to get some points. I just don't want to bet an over on one side and an under on the other side because you're kind of rooting for two different things. Moving along to Denver and Sacramento, Jamal Murray is a doubtful tag right now, so definitely some injury news to talk about there. They're also sliding. They've lost 4 straight games. They just fired their coach and their GM, so potentially in a situation where they don't look as well put together. They kind of just threw in the towel for the playoffs from what seems like firing their coach at this point in the season, a guy that's been there for 10 years. Very, very weird situation in Denver. But at the same time, sometimes that lights a fire in their guys and they play a lot better, focus on this new coach and what he has to say, and things change for the better here. So I don't really know what's going to happen with Denver. Just keep that in mind. People might not be in the right spots, learning new plays, different sets and things like that. Just keep that in mind for Denver side of things. On the Sacramento side of things, no Malik Monk, no Jake LaRavia. And Keegan Murray's also going to be a game-time decision here, but a relatively healthy squad for the Sacramento Kings, who I think have won 3 straight games. And both these teams are playing for something, whether it's playoff positioning. Denver is in a situation where they could fall literally from like the 4 seed all the way to the 9 seed based on like a 1 loss or 2 losses here. So they want to win this game. Both these teams are definitely battling for some play-in positioning, or playoff positioning, so they want to win. So let's go to Props Madness. Check out Domantas Sabonis. I'm looking at his rebounds and assist line at 19.5. Originally, I was just looking at his assists because it's an awesome matchup. Sengun and Sabonis himself, those are the 2 guys that play like him, are going to be going over the lines in every single game. 10 assists, 8 assists, 8 assists, 6 assists, all over the lines in all those games. His line's at 6.5. I like his potential to get some assists. You see where he gets his assists, 37% right in that like mid-range area. So DeMar DeRozan eats there, lives there. Same with kind of Zach LaVine. So a lot of these guys getting a lot of points here, and they're very weak to that mid-range. Also 22nd rank above the break threes. Also 25th rank right in that restricted area. It's a perfect spot to get some assists against a team that's ranked 28th in allowing assists altogether. So Sabonis, definitely the spot to get some assists, but also the rebound situation. He's rebounded extremely well lately, but also against this team overall. Head-to-head, he's averaging 16.5 rebounds this year, and even dating back to last year, he's averaging 13.8. So I don't mind his rebounding potential in this one. Again, like I mentioned with the Nuggets, maybe some new sets, maybe some guys in different situations or different spots that they're not as comfortable with. And we could get some, easier spots on defense where Sabonis can take advantage of that and get some dimes and guys that aren't in the right spot on defense for the Nuggets. I'm speculating here, but at the same time, maybe they're in harder spots to get some open shots on the offensive side of things, and Sabonis is able to grab some of those rebounds. So head-to-head looks really good in terms of his rebounding. Dating back to last year, it also looks really good, and I really like the assist potential here, so something I'm liking for Sabonis for him today is just his rebounds and assists. So 19.5 rebounds, assists, that's the way I'm going to play it here. Both these teams, again, want to win this game in terms of playoff positioning and stuff like that. Then on the Denver side of things, I want to go to Michael Porter Jr. at 17.5 points. Hasn't been hitting this a lot lately, but Jamal Murray is going to be a game-time decision and doubtful, so probably not going to be in this game. And you can see the way he scores his points. Spot-up shooting is his best player type. That's where they're ranked 30th. Very weak at the spot-up defense, the Sacramento Kings are. And above the break threes, that's where 40% of his shots come from. They're ranked 28th there. So similar types of players, I will say, not going over their lines very often, including Michael Porter Jr. himself. Did get over in one of the games, but stayed under in the other 3. But the spot-up defense is really what I'm attacking here. You can see they're ranked 30th here, so going to bottom 10 teams in terms of defending that, all of a sudden this is a 71% hit rate on the over. And a lot of these games, he's absolutely crushing this. Take into account that Jamal Murray is a doubtful tag. He's over in all 6 of those games, scoring 20 plus points in a lot of those. So could be a situation where, hey, maybe you look at 20 plus points for a guy like Michael Porter Jr. So like what I'm seeing from him. I also want to point out his rebound situation. Points and rebounds, if you want to add in the rebounds, 83% hit rates are not as amazing, obviously still really good. And then even just in these instances, 67% hit rate, so obviously not as good as the points, but right up there. And I just want to point out the rebounds because he doesn't have like an amazing matchup in terms of rebounding. Similar types of players are like over in 57% of them, but at the same time, we've talked about it, and head-to-head, he's gone over in all 3 of these games. We've talked about Michael Porter Jr. rebounding against the Kings over the season, and the last time the guy played was March 5th. He had 15 potential rebounds in that one, grabbed 12 of them, and is over in all 3 games this year. So if you want to add in the points, if you want to add in the rebounds to the points, or find some value there, I don't mind that look either. So Michael Porter Jr. for the Nuggets side of things, I'm liking that. And then for some bonus, get some assists, get some dimes, get some assists, and get some rebounds. I'm liking both of those guys in this one. And the last thing I'll point out for this game is DeMar DeRozan's rebounds lines at 3.5 for pretty normal payouts, minus 115 on a lot of books. And this is something you got to take a look at. 65% hit rate. It does creep over with 4 rebounds in a lot of games. Head-to-head, you got 6 rebounds, and 3 rebounds. But you look at the potentials, 10, 12, and 8 potentials. Then you take a look at who's out for this game. Malik Monk's not in this game. Over 9 of 11 games without Malik Monk. You see games with like Zach LaVine and Sabonis in the lineup, still over in 71% of games. So I'm not sure why this line's so low. He's been able to rebound them pretty well against this team overall. So head-to-head, again, not lower than 8 rebound chances, not higher than 12 rebound chances. If you want to start looking at rebound chances and see, 8 to 12 being the threshold here, you're going to see a nice 82% hit rate. If you want to drop to like 7 to 11, you're still looking at an 82% hit rate. So DeMar's rebounded pretty well against this team. 3.5, kind of one of those weird lines that I come across sometimes when doing deep dives. And even though it's like kind of such a random line, it's something that looks really, really good. Similar types of players are positionally also over in 11 of 15 games against this Nuggets team. So, DeMar DeRozan, 3.5 rebounds. Really liking this line out of nowhere. And then for the last game, Houston versus the Clippers, it should be a really good game, but at the same time, Houston has locked up that 2nd seed. They can't get the 1st seed. They're going to be in that 2nd seed. The Clippers are definitely playing for something, and Kawhi Leonard's going to be a game-time decision. So I'm not going to go into this game too much knowing that, Sengun's a game-time decision and Kawhi Leonard's a game-time decision. It's going to be a little bit harder to read, and at the same time, Houston's technically not really playing for anything. They're already locked into that 2 seed. So let's go to the recap of what we talked about in this one. Again, we talked about a bunch of different plays, a ton of different plays. I've already posted a whole bunch of plays in the Discord, and I'm actually going to give you 7 free plays right now. Obviously, we talked about all these, but here's going to be the 7 official video picks. It's because I haven't had a video in a little bit, so we talked about all of them. You can pick and choose your favorite ones. If you watch the whole video, you got an inside scoop of like a lot of different plays we talked about that aren't listed here, but we're going to go to Adem Bona over 23.5 points and rebounds, Spencer Dinwiddie over 6.5 assists, Davion Mitchell over 18.5 PRA, Brandon Bajemski over 15.5 points, Michael Porter Jr. over 17.5 points, or if you want to chip in with his rebounds, you can do points and rebounds. Devin Booker under 32.5 points and assists, and then DeMar DeRozan over those 3.5 rebounds, like we just talked about a second ago. Bona's probably my least favorite of the 7, to be totally honest, just because a little bit of a lesser sample size, but against the Wizards, centers are very, very good, and he's been getting a ton of time. So if I had to take away one, it'd probably be Bona. Really like Dinwiddie, really like Davion Mitchell, really like a lot of the plays we're looking at. Otherwise, I wouldn't share them with you guys. I'm not rushing here to, give out crappy plays. I really dive into these, and I've been talking for the last 2 hours over here. Obviously, I'll edit it down to hopefully, an enjoyable amount of time. This is what we got going on. 7 official plays. Bona probably my least favorite of the 7, just because a little bit less time in the season that we've seen from him, but he's got a great matchup for it. So that will do it for us. Again, if you got all the way through this video, definitely go ahead and leave the video a like. Comment something down below. Subscribe if you are new, all those good things. If you want to check out the Discord community that's right to my left, I'm a little bit zoomed in right now, just so you can't see some certain things. If you want to check out our Discord community, you can check it out. Link in the description down below. It's a DubClub link. You sign up through DubClub. Link that DubClub account to your Discord account. Very simple, and then you're into the Discord. Plenty of different ways to get in for free as well. So if you want to sign up for PrizePicks, Underdog, Betr, Sleeper, Dabble, any of those partner platforms that I have in the description down below, just make sure you use my code and then get a screenshot of my code in use, and then hit me up in the general chat of this, which is a free chat. Again, link in the description. You can just join the Discord for free, and then you want to get access to all the plays, you have to join the premium section. plenty of different ways to get in for free. That's how you do it. PrizePicks is code RichPicks. Underdog, same thing, RichPicks. I think Sleeper's code Rich. I think Dabble's RichDFS. Just make sure you're using those similar codes. Great way to support the channel. Great way to get in for a free month, and come check us out. There's a rich chat on top of that. People are always chatting, sharing their ideas. You can share your own slips. We got some seasoned chefs in here too that have their own channels, so they're always sharing slips. And yeah, that's going to do it for me in this one. I've been talking for a long time. I'll get out of your hair here, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Ton of back-to-back situations here. I went a little bit heavier just because I haven't bet too much over the last 4 days as I was away. But I'm back and ready to go. So hopefully we find some good ones. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Good luck with all your bets. Peace out.